his American beliefs. That's why he first ran for Congress that way, 25 years ago when he first got in, and then got kicked out and then came back. First, he ran as a libertarian. He ran as libertarian for president. He's never made bones about that. They are the usurpers. They are the pretenders. They are the counterfeits, mad that the real deal. Stay there. I'm going to come right back to you and then finish up with other callers. But, no, we're taking over. We're taking America back from the hijackers. We are back now into hour number 2. Foster Gamble, one of the heirs of the Procter & Gamble fortune, who's come out against the New World Order. He's got a new film out. We're going to be talking about it. And his wife as well is involved in the film, Kimberly Gamble. And we are promoting the film. It's at Infowars.com. We're selling it. It's called Thrive. I think it's excellent to wake up the left. Look, the ideas of liberty and individual freedom are infiltrating the controlled left and the controlled right. And that's what Ron Paul's doing. That's what he's always said. We are in a revolution to restore the republic against the globalist revolutionaries of corporate fascist collectivism. It's very simple to understand. Insiders who want to have an inside game versus transparency, open, free societies. And yes, that's what Republican Party and Karl Rove say on Fox News. Ron Paul's dangerous. He's got Democrats crossing over. Yeah, that have woken up to the fact that Obama lied to them about ending wars and corporate bailouts. And that Mitt Romney's bought and paid for by the same interests. People are getting the rigged game. And they are crossing over to support Paul. And so the Republican leadership says, well, we're not going to allow that. We're going to steal it. And so they have been caught stealing it in multiple states. They are stealing it. He is the leader. He is the front runner. He is getting all the money from the small donations of the military and winning the straw polls and the scientific polls, and he can beat Obama and all the big polls. He's the guy. They know that. So this is what the Republican leadership is telling you in Indiana is exactly what they're saying on Fox News. Go with the real Republicans that give us the corporate bailouts, the open borders, the gun control, the New World Order. Is that what they're basically saying, Keith?
Well, I've talked to people who have been through this before, and that's what they're telling me. And the thing about it is, 2 quick points. The way these conventions are set up, the Republicans, I have been informed by numerous people, have the right to kind of change the rules right up to the day of the convention. So if you are in a state, theoretically, that may be going to Ron Paul, they have the capacity at the very top to rig the system at the actual conventions before you ever get a chance to do anything.
Yeah, they changed the rules in 2010 to really be able to do that, yeah.
Yeah, and like back in 2008 in Nevada when they were going to have a caucus, and they just canceled it. So, I mean, these are the things they do. The other point is you are absolutely right about the attitude of the public. I was in the 2008 campaign for Ron Paul, and I used to attend meetings for months, and all of a sudden nobody started coming. And the guy who was running them said, the word's out, Ron Paul's not going to win, and nobody will do anything anymore. And I think the people who run the Republican Party really know that. It doesn't take months for people to abandon a candidate. If they suddenly decide he's not going to go anywhere, I was shocked at how quickly people just leave. I mean, they don't do anything anymore.
This time they understand it's about an idea, as I was saying 4 years ago, and Ron Paul agrees, that it's about growing the campaign for liberty. It's about getting other candidates to run. It's about injecting issues. So from day one, I've been saying, with the biggest show out there, as Ron Paul's pointed out, the biggest show actually talking to Ron Paul supporters, hey, stay in at the long haul, stay in it at the delegate level. Don't let the Republicans say, hey, it's over. But so I'm not saying it's over. I'm saying they're spinning, and as you just said, that, oh, well, he lost these early primaries where they thought he would win because he was the front runner. Okay, and then you'll see that bandwagon over to Romney, over to Santorum, and that's now happening. But it's not as bad as it was 4 years ago. But some of the momentum is going to be lost, so just be ready for it. Because if you don't tell folks to be ready for it, just have this Kool-Aid idea of, no, he's still going to win. Then when he doesn't, everybody's crestfallen. This is a long-term, long view of history. Okay, this is not one football game. This is not one season. This is a whole program, to use a sports analogy. And our program 4 years ago only won 2 games. This time we've won, 12 games. Next time we're going to win the playoffs and the Super Bowl. Because we're engaging, we're showing the fraud, we're showing the Republican Party rigging things, we're showing how they're sick, we're showing Democrats how Obama is on the same team. We're showing it's all a rigged game, and it's in that process that we're going to really wake people up that it's the collectivism that allows the insiders to control all of us. You end the collectivism, bring in a spirit of liberty, they can't control you anymore. It's all about making you dependent. We'll be right back. This is Alex Jones with 5 Good Reasons. All right, in the third hour, we'll continue open phones on the presidential campaign and the fact that there's no difference between Mitt Romney and Barack Obama. And the whole system is rigged against Ron Paul, which shows he's the man. And we'll continue with your calls on that subject. And also the nanny state, which is really the heart of the globalist takeover. I've now discovered they're trying to restrict walking on boardwalks because any bumps are seen as dangerous. And they may, they're now moving to ban people walking on boardwalks. I've now discovered while I've been out in Florida, they've banned running in public schools across the United States, Europe, England, and other nanny state control systems, because running, you might fall down and hurt yourself. It's just a total enslavement, bubble boy kind of iRobot scenario. Isaac Asimov wrote about, a future system where the robots are there to serve humans, but they have this directive to not do harm, and so they basically enslave people because they can't allow humans to do anything that might hurt them. This is really at the heart of this conscious globalist dehumanization that's taking place. We'll be covering that coming up in the third hour today. For the balance of this hour, we're going to be joined by Foster Gamble and his wife, Kimberly Gamble, both filmmakers who've made the film Thrive, very well produced. Months ago, listeners would call up and say, what do you think of this? And I said, well, I haven't seen it. So I got a copy, got so busy, didn't watch it for a few weeks, and finally did watch it. And I think that they're coming from a place of really trying to get people outside the box and to wake up. And you could call it a little new agey. It questions the big lie of, well, are there space aliens? And they don't say one way or the other. They just say, can we trust a government that's been caught lying about all this? And I'd say they spend maybe 5% of the 2-hour film on that. Then they get into the plans to reduce population, the cancer increasing, really hardcore things. They get into individualism, how that's going to empower people. And that's seen by the liberals that see it, because it's kind of tailored for classical, liberals out there. That's what's really shocking to them. For us that are constitutionalists, it's like, well, that's not shocking. So the film really, I would say, is tailored for kind of mainline liberals that are well-meaning people and don't understand from kind of an Alex Jones or Ron Paul perspective why liberty is so important. And it gets into alternative energies that have been suppressed and, the fact that is going on. It's really a revolutionary film. Now, obviously, some of it I don't 100% endorse or believe in, but I think it's really good to get people thinking. And it's a good way to break the ice. And to get conservatives to kind of understand a kind of libertarian liberal perspective and to also wake up mainline liberals. So that's why I made the decision to carry the film Thrive. It's now available at Infowars.com. It's also available on their site. Films like Zeitgeist, the first one came out, and of course I wasn't involved in it. I wasn't asked to be involved. They used a lot of my material. People got mad at me because it's really an anti-Christian, anti-religion film at first. Then it gets into the Federal Reserve, the New World Order. So I agree with 2/3 of the first Zeitgeist. 1/3 of it is attacking people that have faith or a spiritual consciousness. Thrive doesn't do that. So I like it a lot more because I've had spiritual experiences. I have a relationship with my Creator. I don't judge others that are in other religions and have had their experiences. I know that something's going on out there. And so it gets a little bit into that, too. So it's really about expanding your awareness. And I think overall it's a wholesome film, and I think the filmmakers are in the right direction. I kind of half-cocked when people were calling and talking about it, said, Foster, Gamble, the Gambles, that's New World Order. Well, I bet it is, this or that. And they kind of sent nice emails saying, well, Alex, we think more of you. You should actually look at this. So they didn't really lash out at me when I was not really half-cocked. I said, it might be positive. I got to see it, but, little I'll find out, because I'm always a jaundiced eye on anything coming from the left. Now, if they come out with other films down the road and start getting globalist on us, then I'll say, oh, well, it's like Zeitgeist. The first one's okay, and then it gets, we're all going to live in plastic cities and be re-educated. But enough of me. They're with us for just the next 45 minutes till the end of the hour, and I appreciate the Gambles coming on. Foster, Kimberly, tell us about your awakening, and then I want to get into the free energy, how you woke up to 9/11, inside job, false flags, just the full spectrum you're covering, because this film is really waking up kind of mainline liberals out there that we're unable to reach, and I think it's valuable for that reason. Good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's great to be on here with you, Alex. Speaking for myself, it was really when I left college and started to go out into the world and realized that we were invading Cambodia for no good reason that I could understand, and we were destroying a lot of the environment without people being prosecuted, and we were at the risk of nuclear holocaust. I came to the realization that maybe the so-called adults in charge don't really know what they're doing, or at least they don't have our best interests in mind. So I started going after the question, what is in the way of our thriving? And the best way I knew to do it at the time was through science and through consciousness. I thought it was just a function of worldview, and then we just needed to become more awake and so forth. And then along the lines of my research, I started getting more into following the money and into the notion that maybe this agenda was actually somebody's intentional plan to benefit a few at the expense of the rest of us. And that's where really you became one of my major teachers. You've been a hero for me and a whole lot of my friends and my team for the last 12, 15 years. And the reliability of your predictions, not only your information, but your predictions, just kept you as one of my primary news feeds every day. So it was people like you and David Icke and Jim Mars and others who just kept tying the different pieces together in a way that made so much more sense to me than what I was getting from the corporate media, that I just really went down that rabbit hole, and thank goodness I did.
Well, you've made a great film, and go ahead, Kimberly.
I just wanted to say that for me, it was really important to do a lot of my own research because the story made more sense that you were telling. But one of the things that I did was we hired an independent fact checker to corroborate everything as we were putting it together for the movie. And it was one of the ways we could find out whose information really was most accurate. And I have to say, the information that we got from you and the films that you were putting out always came back corroborated. So you became a really important source for me too. And I consider us real allies in this because I know my intention in making Thrive was to create a tool so that the people who are already aware of what's going on would have something to be able to share with people who have been more resistant. So thanks.
Well, thank you. I think it's very effective because it covers a wide spectrum of what people are questioning, and it just basically discusses alternative paths to what we're going down, because we know the path we're going down is pure madness. Even though the controllers think they have a method, it's really a blind spot, and I think the elite are going to destroy themselves. I mean, undoubtedly the direction we're going is destructive. Let's start breaking down the film Thrive itself. I mean, do you agree with my perspective that this is something I see that's really going to be good for waking up people on the traditional left that kind of hear a gruff, wild libertarian and kind of get turned off?
Well, we've certainly been in that conversation a lot. We didn't specifically make it for that audience, but we did have a strong intention to bridge together lots of different fractions from the left and from the right, from science and consciousness, from liberty and justice, from energy to UFOs. And I'm delighted to say that in the interviews we're getting a chance to do, it's actually a remarkably similar conversation that we're having, no matter whether it's in the UFO, the economics, conspiracy realm, because what we're finding is the common denominators are what's really going on in the world, because everybody is wanting to know that now, or just about everybody. And secondly, what are the principles by which we can get out of this, rather than the politics? What are the principles? And that's where the liberty conversation is just emerging, like a geyser right now.
Well, it is. It's spreading like the white blood cells countering the virus or the infection. And undoubtedly, I mean, everyone knows just internally, it's a basic truth. There is a major shift happening. The old order is panicking. It's not really a new world order. It's an old order. And all of this tyranny we're seeing coming to the surface is an attempt to suppress the awakening we're seeing. I don't really get people saying, oh, you're full of it anymore like I used to. Right. They just say, okay, what are you going to do? So I think it's more about giving solutions, and that's what you're doing. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what we're doing. People like you and David Icke have done such a masterful job of being the Paul Reveres for people, letting people know that there's something really heavy coming down if we don't do something about it. So we've been able to stay